We just got word that Mike Pompeo, the Secretary of State, will be speaking in the White House briefing room at 11 a.m. Eastern time today. Ahead of that, we knew that he was on the schedule to have lunch with the president today. We will look forward to hearing from him at the top of the 11 o'clock hour, so stay tuned for that. We'll carry it live.
The last thing Dr. Ford needs, in my view, is to go through the ringer again. She came forward to the committee. She couldn't tell us anything new in person. I think something really did happen to her. I am convinced it wasn't Brett Kavanaugh. If she was wrong about her best friend being at the party, what else was she wrong about?
There's Lindsey Graham's latest reaction to Dr. Ford. Meanwhile, there's a new written declaration from Dr. Ford's former boyfriend from the 1990s, contradicting some of her sworn testimony from last week. Terry Turchie is a former assistant FBI director. He knows how all this stuff works. And, sir, good morning to you. I see you're waking up in Boise, Idaho, a beautiful part of America today. So good morning there. Would you expect the FBI? Would you expect the FBI to wrap up today, sir?
I think they probably could, and I think that when they do wrap it up, you'll be happy to know that you're going to get something that's non-emotional and factual and really digs into all of these allegations and the witnesses. And when I say witnesses, I mean people who would have had firsthand knowledge of something, or they didn't. And that's what you're going to get back from the FBI today. Or
help us understand, if he's been investigated 6 times prior, what would they look at now for a 7th time?
Well, I think what they're probably doing is a pretty narrow focus here. They're taking testimony from last week from both Dr. Ford and the judge, and they're going through that. They're going to make sure they interview the witnesses that are offered in support of Dr. Ford's wanting to have her story corroborated. They're going to go back and look at the other 2 allegations that have come out and interview those witnesses, or the witnesses and the names of the people given to them by the complainants. And that's what they would do in any case like this. So you're going to see them do all of that. And the facts are the facts. They'll either find out that these things are accurate, or these allegations are accurate, or they will find no information to support any of them, or some of them. So that's really what's going to happen here. And it will be what it is. And it's going to be a little bit hard to argue the facts, but I think what is getting set up here from just my days in the FBI, remember, all of this kind of investigation is deemed to determine suitability. That's the aspect of this, suitability for a federal job. And suitability is about your habits and your temperament and your finances and employment and all of these things. So when you do a case like this, when all 6 of these other cases were, these investigations were done, Bill, they looked at and they interviewed friends and associates and neighbors and colleagues, and I'm sure there were several hundred interviews over all 6 of these backgrounds. So they already know that they have gathered nothing that would have stopped Judge Kavanaugh from becoming a district judge, and it's highly unlikely at this point, based upon what we're hearing and what we saw last week, that any of that is going to change. But what will change, or what can change, is that the Democrats on that committee can say, well, based on your reaction, we're wondering about your temperament. We're wondering about your personality and whether or not you can handle this job. And that would be very grossly unfair, because over many years, his temperament has been set up and identified as to what it is.
Is that the role over the past 6 days? Is that the role of the FBI?
That is one of the main missions in doing these kinds of background investigations. You look at suitability, and you look at, which is all about habits and drinking and drug use and all of that thing. And you look at national security type issues, the security aspect of it, which of course is not in question here. So you come down to this being an updated suitability investigation, and nothing so far has come out to indicate or show that we're going to find out anything different than we already knew.
2 specific questions. I've got to squeeze them both in a minute. Do you have to go back and talk to Dr. Ford and Brett Kavanaugh, or both, or neither?
There's a strategy that you would put together. There's a lot of ways to go. I would have gone back and talked to Dr. Ford, but that doesn't mean they would have to.
About what?
They have what they need about the witnesses that she offered up. I would go back, though, and do a much more broad complainant interview, because in a normal case, Bill, her character and credibility would have become an issue as well. This is not a normal type of investigation in that we would really spend a lot more time trying to determine if the complainant had the same kind of character problems that she's accusing someone else of having. And that's just fair. Just like in a kidnapping case, we always are debating this. You go back and you talk to parents and relatives and make sure that they're not involved. And sometimes those are very, very difficult and emotional interviews. She should have been interviewed like that as well if she wasn't.
Very interesting. I hope you come back. We'll see what we get today. Terry Turchi, maybe they wrap today. Thank you, sir, very much. Out of